Ah, somebody's here. Let's crack it. What's up, everybody? It's Friday night. What y'all got going on? Somebody talk to me. You alive out there? Wake up and go to sleep. Who we got? I see people popping in. I see thumbs going up. What's up, everybody? It's Friday night. It's April 10th. It's 410 day. You ain't knowing. Why do you keep doing that? Why does it keep doing that? Watch. See it? It just did it again. Am I tripping? What up, Snow? I'm here. Felix, what's up, man? You know what I'm saying? Good to see you. Thanks for tapping in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Man, today, you know what I'm saying? My topic is Snowroc, Whiteboy, Joey, or Joey. Because I feel, you know what I'm saying, all three of those are what make up who I am now. What's up in the big city? Man, it's hot out here. It's hot, but it was a beautiful day, man. Yeah, it was, you know what I'm saying, I had to work, so I was at work all day. It was rough too because I wasn't, feeling well this week. Had to take a couple of days off, man. I got caught some bug that, sat me on my tail. Had me calling Earl. Yeah, it was all bad. But Friday I went back to work just to get a day in because I was feeling better and I was, I was back at it. Duka. G Day Snow, yeah, it's Hood Day. It's 410 Day. It's the homies, it's Hood Month. The Hood Month goes on, from April 1st, because I'm from 41st Street. You see there it is. You see the 41 in the back, but I'm from 41st Street on my neighborhood. So, our day is April Fool's Day, April 1st. But, we're all part of 410 because we're all from the 40s. And it's a big glove. The 40s is pretty big. But it's good when everybody gets together, and is able to put a lot of bullshit aside. Living the best life and rolling easy. Quick trip in and bless Hood Month to you on the 40s. Good looking out. Good looking out. Duka G Day is short for good day. Okay. Good day. G Day. G Day. Good day. As in, good day, mate. I come from the land down under. That's right. Hey, I remember. I remember. Man, I appreciate you tapping in, Duka. You know what I'm saying? You always, show up on for your boy, man. I appreciate it. So the topic is I believe, like, I studied a little psychology. I learned a little bit. So while I was studying, I found out that they say like Sigmund Freud says there's three parts that make up the human psyche. So he calls it the id, the ego, and the superego. For me, it's Joey, Whiteboy Joey, and Snowroc, because all of them are equal parts me. But through evolution, we had to change and stop doing certain things and start doing other things. And life takes you in different places. So Snowroc was the one. He he just wanted what he wanted. He was out for what he wanted, and wasn't nothing gonna stop him from getting it. White boy Joey was a scared little kid who got beat up, got his shit took, and then that's when Snowroc came, and I used to say that Snowroc killed White Boy Joey, but that ain't possible because White Boy Joey is still a part of me. He's still inside. I'm saying, in there, scared. He ain't running nothing. He ain't controlling nothing. He had. Then I realized that I had to evolve. So White Boy Joey got tired of getting his shit took and and had to start fighting back, and that's when Snowroc came. And Snowroc, he didn't know how to act, like I said, and then the California Department of Corrections decided I needed to be put away several times, several times for a lot of years. So my first offense, I went to prison for 4 years. I ended up doing. You're supposed to do 2 years. That's halftime. I ended up doing 3 years, and then got out for 7 months. I feel bad. I'm kind of ashamed, what I'm saying, to say that because damn, I was only out 7 months. But I have friends that I grew up with, what I'm saying, that I knew that got out, stayed out less than 8 hours, and was back. And it's like, that was a lot of people that I grew up with. I spent a lot of time in incarceration with them, from people I went to elementary school with to people that I went to juvenile hall with. I didn't go with them, but we seen each other there. And then, what I'm saying, on to juvenile camp, and then on to, what I'm saying, wherever else. Some people go, there's different places. And then, what I'm saying, on the prison. And then, what I'm saying, now here we are, what I'm saying, old men, what I'm saying, just trying to be part of the community, you know, and what I'm saying, it's hood month. It's a gang of my homies, what I'm saying, this is the time we all supposed to come together. This is the time we all supposed to, what I'm saying, embrace, and what I'm saying, and work on whatever. If we got an issue, then we can deal with it. What I'm saying, we grown ass men, what I mean, But that's the thing, what I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know all the issues. I don't know what it is. All I know is, what I'm saying, I'm happy to see my homeboys when we get together, and this year is going to be better. Every year is going to be better because we're going to make it better. You know, all we got to do is do our part. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your part is, do your part. That's it. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? I'm learning a lot. You know what I mean? Little by little. But one of the things I learned a long time ago is your first community is your family. If you can't get, figure it out with your family, then how you gonna, figure it out with your neighbor? And then when you're from neighbors, this is how your community gets bigger and you have more people to deal with. I'm learning. All this is new to me. Like I say, I spent majority of my life in a prison cell. And when I was about to get out, after doing the 12 years straight, when I was about to get out, I was scared. I was really afraid. I didn't have no family left in San Diego. I didn't have no place to go, and wasn't looking good for your boy. You feel those City Connect Padre jerseys this year? Hey, they kind of tight. They kind of tight. I did see him. I did see him. Uh, uh, uh. Yeah, JC. I saw those was kind of tight. The the way the San Diego was printed out on the shirt is sick. That was my favorite part. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like uh, I agree much better than the other ones. Yeah, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, so I keep pushing, you know what I'm saying, to be the best me I can be. And that's all that's the best I can do. I can only do so much. Mm, I can't turn that. All right. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, life keeps life and I'm thankful for it, because uh, uh, I started a new tradition this year. Me and my family, we're gonna be spending Easter up at a lake in San Diego. It's something new. We started with the new family member. Yes, yeah. It's grandpa duty. The baby's in the house. Luckily, the baby sleeps, so I'm able to get on. You know what I'm saying? But I go. You know what I'm saying? My job is to go up in there and make the baby smile. And she's so easy. She's always smiling. Nah, life is good, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been focused on family. You know what I'm saying? Trying to handle business, trying to make the best of it. Because you only get one go around. I'm I'm not getting any younger. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get what I can get while I can get it, and this is my time. So, uh, grandbaby time is the best time. Yeah, it's Friday night, man. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all got something going on. Duca, you still there? What time is it on the other side? What time is it down under? You still awake? Anybody? 2 p.m. Saturday. Damn. Midnight in Florida. Damn. Midnight? Yeah. Shit. It's early. It's just 9 o'clock right now. 9:07. Man, time show flying. Man, so what everybody think about the fake moon mission? Is it real? Is it fake? I don't know. Everything is so much BS. So much stuff that I learn and I see, and I don't believe. You know what I'm saying? It takes you got to I don't know. You got to show me because I have doubts. I have, you know what I'm saying. I learned one thing, and then, you know what I'm saying, I got to go look up three other things because I'm not sure about something else now because I done figured, oh, this, now I got, and I'll get lost. It gets thick, you know what I'm saying? It's a big head, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot going on up in there. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? San Diego is beautiful, but I think they charging us for the weather. Everything's going up. Everything's going up. The food is all poison. The food is all bad. They spraying us with stuff in the air. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Want to go somewhere else. Real or fake, they employed my grandpa for years. Who that? Who employed grandpa for years? Because that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? It's people behind the people behind the people behind the people. Because you never gonna know who's in, you know what I'm saying, who's the ones doing this and that. They give us names and point out these people, you know what I'm saying, for a reason, man. they trying to get somebody to do something to somebody and make it look like this is the reason, and they've been manipulating stuff for too long. I don't know. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I believe, you know what I'm saying. You know, it's a lot of stuff that goes on that we ain't never gonna know. And it's a gang of dirt. Look at it. It's a gang of dirt. Just, you know what I'm saying. You know, but that's the thing. You know what I'm saying. You know, I did a gang of dirt, so you know what I mean. You know, people forgave me. So you know, I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, you know, live better, do better, make something better. But that's a job, you know what I'm saying? I think my goal, you know what I'm saying, my goal in life is to try and, you know what I'm saying, make sure I'm able to leave something, you know what I'm saying, you know, something behind to make it better for my daughters and my granddaughter. So that's my goal now, you know. At the same time, trying to live, trying to, you know what I'm saying, you know, I've stopped eating meat. It's crazy because I always consider myself, I'm a carnivore. Rockwell International in the old Lancaster hangars with the old Blackbird planes. Oh shit. Rockwell. Damn, that sounds familiar. Nah, you know what I'm saying? I've been through Lancaster. I did a couple of years on the CR. Yeah, yeah, I'm saying I went to Lancaster. It was alright, but I was there for level 4, so it was it was kind of, you know what I'm saying, you know, it was kind of stressful to say the least, you know. But I got stabbed a couple times, and you know, I always came out on top though. You know, one time I got stabbed, I got 6 stitches, and the dude that stabbed me, he got 16. And then, you know what I'm saying, you know, another time a guy stabbed me with like a ice pick in the neck and the back, and I broke his jaw. And and it was crazy because, you know, how it all happened. You know, I'm walking back from chow, and I'm walking back with a dude. He's supposed to be my partner, but we walking, and the dude runs up behind me and stabs me in the neck, and stabs me again before I could turn around and square up on him. When I square up on him, the dude that was standing next to me is gone. So I square the dude up, and then I see the knife. It's like a piece of a kitchen rack or a piece of a grill, straight piece of metal, you know, with a piece of towel or something tied to, wrapped around the end for a handle. So I see it got blood on it. So I don't know how bad. You know, all I know is I'm cut. He poked me. I don't know how bad it is. I don't know what. Jeff, not that part of Lancaster. Proud to say I never had a family member ever worked there. Known corruptions, yeah, man. Just speaking of that, when I first got to Lancaster to the prison, you know that this is my first time at level 4. So I come up in there and they put me on the yard that I'm going to be on, and they give you laundry. They're supposed to give you new, you know, new state issue clothes, socks, drawers, you know, your whole issues. You know, you're supposed to get new stuff. And you know what I'm saying, you know, I want my issue. I don't want no old. I don't want nobody else's drawers. I want some new. You know what I'm saying, you know. So I argue with the free staff. This is a free man that comes. He works in the prison in the laundry room, and he was a free staff. But the dude is wearing clothes. This is in the '90s, so this dude is wearing clothes like he's fresh off the set of New York Undercover. You know, and it's like, you know what I mean. You know, he's talking shit. You know. And it's like, you know what I'm saying, man, I'm in the cell right now, you know, and you passing out, you know. laundry, and I'm just trying to ask about, my issue. So, what I'm saying, the inmates that work for him, you know, told me, what I'm saying, don't say nothing to him. What I'm saying, I'm gonna take care of you later. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Don't worry about him. I'll take care of you later. So after they gone by, what I'm saying, the worker comes back and he's like, yeah, man, don't worry about dude. What I'm saying, I'm gonna take care of you. What I'm saying, you come in, and I got you. And what I'm saying, okay. So then a little while later, what I'm saying, it was like, what I'm saying, maybe 4 or 5 months down the line. And what I'm saying, because the dude gave me some weed and everything with my clothes. And he was like, here, what I'm saying, just don't say nothing to that dude. Anytime you need something here, come see me and I got you. So I'm like, okay, cool. So, now I got fresh laundry and shit. And what I'm saying, time goes by, I find out that he's the one bringing in the sack, but he's on Front Street, and then he ends up, what I'm saying, he gets caught up. But the inmate who was in there, who got at me, he took the fall for the drugs that were on the in the area because he worked there. And so the dude, what I'm saying, he free staff. He, what I'm saying, okay, we know you were involved, but we can't prove it. So we're just gonna move you outside the gate. So now he was working still for, what I'm saying, the system, but he just has to be outside the gate. And it was crazy because he had a whole bunch of family members who worked there. They cover for him, and that's what I'm saying. There's always corruption everywhere. But that's the thing. You got good and bad with everything. It was good COs, it was bad COs. I had COs. I had COs that helped save my life. You know what I mean? It was situations where I'm saying you got to use what you got, and I'm saying I'm gonna fight for my life any way I can. My whole life, I'm saying, as a kid, all I ever heard was, boy, you ever go to prison and white boys gonna kill you. But, I'm saying, I went up in there and, I'm saying, I made it. I survived and I'm still here. Not bragging, I'm saying, I'm not bragging. I look at it, I'm saying, I had this one story. It was the picture of the legend, and the legend got a black eye, got a tooth knocked out, got bandages, lumps on his head, beat up, old. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is what a legend looks like. Yeah, no, because I don't know. I'm saying? A lot of people. I'm saying? Now don't. I don't see myself as a legend. I mean? In the streets. I'm kind of known in the California prison system. I'm kind of known, but it's people. I'm saying? It's I'm tripping. I'm saying? Because I run across people that talk about I heard about you. I'm saying? I'm saying? And they way across on the other side of the United States. And it's like that's crazy. I'm man. Look, all I did was what I was supposed to do. I survived. That's what I did. I survived. I survived something that most people, I'm saying, wouldn't. Most people tapped out. A lot of people tried. I ran into, I'm saying, a bunch of them. And, I'm saying, from San Diego, I only know one other. From LA, there's several. They were there before me. I'm not the first. Uh, my claim to fame is I went from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4. Yeah, still here. Still here. And you know what I'm saying? That ain't been done by many. Not, what I'm saying? Not the real light skinned people. Nah, it ain't easy being cheesy. You know what I mean? I don't consider myself special. I'm just a survivor. Certainly a solid snow. Appreciate you, man. But I always try and look inside and analyze, why did I do this and why did I do that, because that's what got me to where I am now. Because if I don't do that, because like my first mind on something, is always, I'm saying, it's always a little out there, and now it's like, okay, I'm saying, okay, we got to think about that. Well, what happens if we do that? Oh yeah, no, that's bad. But I've learned, I'm saying, and now what happens is, I'm saying, all the stuff, I'm saying, like I said, I've taken a bunch of, I'm saying, a cognitive behavioral training. What was the other one? It was a bunch of courses that I had to do after I got released, and I'm saying, I did those. But before that, I did anger management on my own, like, I'm saying, maybe 6 7 times. Because I'm saying, it's still something I work on, and I don't know why. I'm saying, some things just like, I'm saying, push that button and see what happens. And I'm saying, and that's the thing. I know I can't let, I'm saying, like I say, the three parts that make up me, I can't let Snowroc out. Because Snowroc just wants to hit somebody in the mouth. And that's the thing, I'm saying, it's been a long time I've been being good, and in my head I still think about, I'm saying, all the fights that I've been in. And sometimes when somebody's just yapping, so one, all right, let's stop thinking. Back to positivity. But yeah, Snow Rock, I'm saying, he just, I don't know, I'm saying, I don't know what makes him tick. I know a lot of it was built out of self defense. I'm from Dago, but left when mom's name married military. 16, transferred from South Bay, did my captain. Level 3, 4. Heard of you back in the Vista 60s. Damn, that goes back. But that's the thing. I've heard so many stories about so many people telling me about. One time, no, the first interview I ever did was with a guy, Mitch. Uh, uh, Mitch had me. I was on there, and one of the comments was a dude. He was like, "Man, I was in prison with that dude. They told me if I don't get him, they're gonna get me." He said, "Fuck prison. I'm a plumber now." But he said, now I've heard of several situations where the whites, certain whites were told, you have to go stab him or we're going to stab you. But why don't they just come and stab me? They ain't fixing to do nothing. I don't trip, player. I can barely read, man. Eyes going bad. I'm gonna have to give me some of them spectacles. uh, that's the thing, man. I need to eat some more carrots or something. Nah, I've been doing better with the lifestyle, with the eating better. It's just expensive. Smoke more tree. That's gonna help with my vision. That's not gonna help with my vision. That's just gonna close my eyes. Yeah, that's not gonna help. But shit, this is, you know what I'm saying, it's San Diego. You know what I'm saying? San Diego got some good trees. Yeah. But that's the thing, I always try, and I think sometimes I overanalyze because I go back and I try and figure out why did I do this? What made me do that? And white boy Joey, I understand. He was a scared little kid, and he was put in positions where he wasn't supposed to be, and he had to deal with things that he shouldn't have had to deal with. But that's the way life is sometimes. Ain't no use crying over spilled milk. It's done, you know what I'm saying? Let's move on. And you know what I'm saying, so we evolve and become someone else to protect. And that's the thing. Snowroc, you know what I'm saying, was so aggressive, and he was so aggressive because he didn't want you to mess with him. A lot of people didn't know that. And it's a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that spent a gang of time with me that didn't know that, you know. And I don't know, talking about interviews were the best way to contact you. Oh, hit the email on here. Hit a message. I try and, you know what I'm saying, check my messages, any comments or anything. So hit me in the comments, and I give you my email. It should be in the link somewhere, but I don't know how to exactly do it. But you know what I'm saying, just tap in with me, you know what I'm saying, we'll get a link, you know what I'm saying, whatever, phone number, whatever. And work it out. Yep, we'll make it work. But that's the thing, you know what I'm saying, it's just been, you know what I'm saying, work, 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 trying to, you know what I'm saying, make ends meet. Actually, the guy whose king is a Greek Australian who used to run with the Penguins. All right, good looking out, good looking out. That's the thing, you know what I'm saying? We had I remember when, you know what I'm saying, the Asian gangs first started showing up, you know what I'm saying, we got some in my neighborhood called the OKB, the Oriental Killer Boys. And the Oriental Killer Boys, they was vicious, but they got their drug addiction got too much. Got to be too much for them, the ones I know of, I know of the older ones who, you know what I'm saying, who at one point, you know what I'm saying, were selling their guns. They were getting rid of their guns because they just wanted to get high. And then, yeah, it went all bad. Yeah, they liked the. Yeah, I ain't fucking with them. I don't want no problems. I ain't going to the jungle. If I do, it'll be South America. I don't know. I hear some spots over there in Vietnam are beautiful. Man, I've seen some pictures. I got, like I say, you know what I'm saying, I know a couple people, you know what I'm saying, I got I got some associates. But that's the thing, growing up, there's people in my neighborhood. I remember when they first bought a house and slowly started building, and now there's a big shrine, a Buddhist temple. It's all, you know what I'm saying, it's beautiful how they, all the architecture, that all the work that they've done. It's nice. I don't know all the significance, and I don't know all the deities and whatever they got going on, but they do their thing, and they got their own little, you know what I'm saying, their little group, and they do their thing. They don't bother nobody, you know what I'm saying, they, you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you. And, uh, They was always decent. I'll see you in the Columbia in about 20 years. Man, that's what we'll see. What I was thinking is like, uh, not Colombia. What is it? Chile. Yeah, Chile is down. But it's over on the west coast of South America. That's what I wanted to go. I've been looking to get out there, man. But then you know what I'm saying. You know, I heard about Belize. You know what I'm saying. You know, I got some folks, some LA folks, some LA glove gangs. Some partners, you know what I'm saying, who's originally from Belize, and they been over here, you know what I'm saying, you know, I know one of them got deported. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, they say it's a lot of water out there, so, I mean, you know, that was man, I'd be with that. And you know what I'm saying, you know, leave me sitting somewhere with a fishing pole for too long. Man. So what's up, everybody? Anybody got any questions? What y'all got going on? It's Friday night. I know somebody got something going on. Anything? Going once, going twice. What's the time there? It's 9:30, 9:31. 9:31, Duca. 9:31, player. Okay, if that's it, anybody got anything, we gonna call it a night. I told you I got grandbaby in the house. Waiting on grandpa. Be right back. I'm about to put some spring rolls in the pan. Hey, I'm fisting the bounce, big dog. Hey, thank you, everybody. We're gonna call this one for tonight. See y'all next Friday, 9 p.m. Thank you, thank you. Hey, y'all have a glove one.